Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and yes, you've read the title. I'm back once more with another Not List, aka an episode of These Things Suck, a format where I and my neck vein Jeremy take a whistle-stop tour around the video game industry and find stuff that just makes us feel oh so bad in so many ways, and then make videos about it for your entertainment. You're welcome. And today I've got an absolute stinker for you because we're going to be talking about video game product placement. Now, here's the thing. Video games as a whole, they're designed to make money. I know that we believe that they're here to entertain, but first and foremost, they are about squaring up that check, my friend. And so, obviously, we've seen them delve into all sorts of shady practices from time to time. We have the microtransactions, we have the seasonal battle passes, and of course, we've got straight up product placement. Ooh, boy. And trust me, these ads are really, really bad. They're not even products that you'd want, not like, say, this UBP mug that has Scott Tailford and I on the side of it. Yes, from our very successful podcast, the Untitled Banter podcast. Yes. See, look, this is a terrible ad right now that I'm doing for this. I could tell you to go to the really elongated URL to do this because for some reason we don't have a dedicated one. It's on the wrestling side of things for some reason. And I could be telling you about how the rim doesn't cut your mouth, that's a great feature, or the fact that you could choose to have salty on one side if you want your drinks a bit saltier or spicier, and sweet and smooth on the other side, depending on which side you want to drink it from. Those are key features for a mug, apparently. Now, I know that it sounds like I'm actually trying to shill this. I don't even get a cut of this. But what I'm just trying to say is, the ones that are in this not list, they're even worse than me advertising this fucking mug. So let's get on with it, shall we? As I'm Jules, this is most definitely WhatCulture.com, and oh baby, you best believe it, these video game product placements absolutely suck. Now, it absolutely makes sense that video games most often shill for snacks and energy drink companies, because, I mean, what else is going to fuel us throughout those long and bleary nights when we're hopelessly glued to the controller? Cocaine is too expensive, adrenaline shots, no thank you, they make my tummy hurt, so what's left? Oh, it's just 3 cans of discount Red Bull Blue Bear that I'm just going to chug and then wonder why my retinas are so very, very itchy. But in the case of NBA 2K22, 2K games conspired to include perhaps the most single boring type of product placement in their basketball sim, and that is for insurance. Oh, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, well, I actually just sit on the floor right now because I risk falling off harder than Elon Musk if I stay seated. I'm that excited. Insurance. In the game's open-world environment, The City, players can explore, complete quests, buy brand apparel from companies like Nike, Adidas, and Converse, and even start mulling over their insurance options. And though you can't buy insurance in-game, seriously, let's not actually give them any ideas here, NBA 2K22 does feature the series' first ever branded non-playable character by way of American insurance company State Farm and their corporate human mascot, Jake. Now, Jake, who appears extensively in State Farm's TV advertising, is fully voiced and motion captured in the game by the very same real-life Jake and can be encountered in the city. And in one toe-curlingly embarrassing cutscene, he welcomes the player to the city with all the dead-eyed enthusiasm of somebody who definitely runs a pyramid scheme, before then dropping the company slogan, which I'm pretty sure is "Feed me precious oil, you organ sack," and then offers you some State Farm drip. I'm sorry, what are we calling this? Drip? This shit is fucking dropped. The most basic red shirt and grey khaki combo that you have ever seen in your life, my friend. Oh, and by the way, such launch merchandise from the store started at 15,000 VC, or around $5 in real money. Now, the sheer comedy of this being the one outfit in the game that actually costs the same as it does in real life is one thing, but the fact that this game is so aggressive with this insurance marketing is no laughing matter at all. Now, advertising and microtransactions aren't anything new to the NBA 2K series, but bamboozling the player with walking, talking embodiments of a brand is something entirely different. It feels borderline dystopian. Nobody who has ever bought an NBA game has ever bought one because of Jake. I'm sorry, mate, you probably are a really nice guy, although I'm pretty sure you're not actually human, but still, no one wants to see you. Oh, what's that? He appeared in the sequel as well? Oh god, there's no getting rid of him. Hello, Jake, my new corporate overlord. Now, Red Bull at least seems a little more on brand for video games, right? Even so, developers have to carefully pick and choose a product to ensure that it fits comfortably within the established game world. Or in the case of 2003's first-person shooter Judge Dredd: Dredd vs. Death, you could just, give no fucks whatsoever. While hardly a terrible game, this dead basic, aggressively mediocre FPS is probably best remembered for how shamelessly and enthusiastically it shilled for the most famous energy drinks company on the planet. Now, depending on your perspective, it's either a completely horrifying or strangely comforting factor that Red Bull is still churning out its FDA-approved brand of battery acid 100 years into the future, and is apparently undeterred by a viral plague that swept through the game's focal metropolis setting of Mega City 1. Simply put, Red Bull is everywhere in this game. I mean, one cutscene even shows Judge Dredd casually discarding an empty Red Bull can whilst driving along the road. Pretty sure littering is going to get you an ISO cube sentence, right? No one else on this? No? And an early mission even tasks the player with taking out a gang who are illegally smuggling the stuff. And to hammer the point home, the level is filled with crates and crates of Red Bull, lest you forget what it is you're looking for, of course. The pre-orders for this game may as well have come with a keg of Red Bull and a funnel for how much this game wants you to just shut up and drink it, you silly tit. But the worst thing about it all is how utterly, unapologetically lazy all of this actually is. Because ultimately this is about as low effort as it gets, with virtually no attempt made to integrate Red Bull into the scuzzy cyberpunk aesthetic of the rest of the game. Now this is the thing, product placement in video games, it's unfortunately just going to be one of those things we have to accept, but doing it this bad, well, that's against the law! I don't have the chin for Judge Dredd. My beard would just get all gore in it, wouldn't be worth it. And speaking of advertising that punched you in the face, let's talk about advertising in a game which is all about punching people in the face. Ooh. For you see, almost 3 years after Street Fighter V's release, Capcom made the baffling decision to plug crude advertising into its hit beat-em-up. Now, while the product placement is admittedly entirely optional, Capcom attempted to incentivize players to keep the ads running by rewarding them with Street Fighter V's in-game currency, fight money, for not turning them off. But even with it being optional though, there's a sickly ickiness to the pervasiveness of these ads, which infect the world and aesthetic of the game like an especially garish fungal rot on your crotch. What are you doing here? I'm not saying I have a garish fungal rot in my crotch. Get on with the video. Now, when the ads first went live, players found that characters' default costumes had been altered to include logos for Capcom's own Pro Tour fighting game tournaments. Notably, Guile's iconic American flag tattoo was now replaced with a patch for the tour, and in potentially offensive fashion, even Dhalsim's necklace of skulls wasn't safe from the gaping maw of consumerism. And given that the skulls are canonically of children from this village who died of a plague, this feels especially crass. Now here's the thing, the American flag being replaced by a company's logo, that's kind of weirdly on brand for the WALL-E-style dystopian future that they're all heading towards. But the actual skulls of children replaced with a company, that's pretty bad. Hope somebody got Yoga fired for that. Oof. The ads also extended to appearing in the background of the game's fighting stages and showing up as loading screens to remind you precisely what you signed up for. In short, if you thought you'd be scamming Capcom out of a few credits, well, they made you work for it with every single second of gameplay. But the real kicker to all of this is, you didn't even earn that much. Even with all 3 modes of product placement activated, players could only earn a maximum of 12 fight money each battle, and given that most fighters in the game cost in the vicinity of, let me just check my notes here, 100,000 fight money each, that's quite the raw deal for swallowing down a hefty spoonful of marketing ejaculate. Now, considering that Street Fighter used to be the raddest, the most cool fighting game on the planet, this is most definitely uncool and most definitely also sucks. I mean, there probably was better ways of going about this, right? I mean, they could have brought back the bonus stages where you smash up the car, but instead it's like a branded car. Although, they probably wouldn't want their car to be destroyed by another person who has the name of E. Honda. Just a thought though, isn't it? It's better than what they came up with. Now, EverQuest 2 is set in a world that is 500 years removed from the original, in which war and strife has pretty much decimated everything you held dear. But the only one thing that does remain is Pizza Hut. Ooh, Now to you who are about to go off into battle, let me say one thing. We have all lost people close to us, friends and family members, but the one constant that remains true is our resolve. In the fact that Pizza Hut is bloody great, right? Right? I mean, seriously, I've eaten so much stuffed crust, my veins are full of them. I can't even feel grief. It's amazing. It's great, isn't it? Now, in February 2005, a few months after the game's release, developers Daybreak Game Company revealed a promotion that they locked down with the pizza magnates, which allowed famished players to literally order a doughy pizza pie from within the game itself. By typing the chat command /pizza, players would be redirected to Pizza Hut and able to get themselves some hot, thick, crusty goodness delivered straight to their door, for a price, of course. And while this might seem relatively harmless on the balance of probabilities, I mean, everybody's got to eat, right? It is a uniquely intrusive product placement given that it encourages the player to so brutally tear down the veil between the game world and the real one. In-game commands otherwise allow you to influence the world of the game and nothing else, yet /pizza corrupts that and pulls you out of the game to pay somebody to transport cheesy, bready sustenance to your homestead. So yeah, while not being bad in the sense that it actually worked, was kind of original in thinking, and at the end of the day you got pizza out of it, definitely destroyed the tone of the game, which last time that I checked is pretty essential for an MMORPG. But who am I to say? Oh yeah, it's me. I'm me. Okay, so we're saving the best, or in this case, the worst, for last here, because we're going to be talking about Darkened Sky. A game that was made not with just Skittles in mind, but all about Skittles. I bet you've never heard of it. You're in for a treat. Now, this was developed in 2002 by Simon & Schuster, and the outfit entered into an agreement with Mars which allowed them to develop video games based on both M&Ms and Skittles. In the latter case, Mars hoped that a Skittles-themed video game could help drive sales with consumers under 20 who had lost interest in the coloured candy at the time. And while Darkened Sky's producer Elizabeth Braswell originally turned the project down, she eventually decided to try and make the best of it, creating a Skittles-powered adventure game with solid gameplay and a pretty funny script. And though at a cursory glance, Darkened Sky looks like any of the thousands of identikit fantasy games on the market, after playing it a little, it becomes hilariously clear how much corporate influence drips through its very veins. As it turns out, Skittles are the source of power, life, and all happiness in this world, and it is up to you, yes you absolute consumerist fool, to return the rainbow to this land. A rainbow made of Skittles. Oh boy, you're playing the ad campaign entirely. That's greasy. And though the game certainly gets some small respect for attempting to build itself around actual Skittles lore, which is apparently a thing now, it is also a depressing statement about games development that it only ever got made by getting into bed with the biggest candy producer on the planet. The thing is, this game isn't some sort of low-effort piece of shovelware. It's actually a fairly decent game, but the fact that it came out of the balls of Mars. Sonic wagging of the finger. Nah. That's so gross. And therefore it belongs on this not list. And there we go, my friends. Those were these video game product placements suck. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And do you have any suggestions for what you would like me and Jeremy to take our turn at the next time around that we come back to this? Apologies that I have been away for a little bit on this. I've been actually trying to calm down. Hasn't gone that well. I've got more worked up, if anything, and I need to release all of these ideas onto the internet. So please let me know where you'd like me to focus my unbridled rage. And give a big shout out to Joe as well, who edited this not list. It's never a list. You can follow him over here. Not on Twitter though, he's not on Twitter. Put some other social media stuff there.
Can't move.
But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though I go into these things suck videos with more aggression and rage than normal, that's not who I am as a person in real life. I don't encourage you to carry anger or hate into your heart, because at the end of the day, it is a draining experience that helps nobody, all right? Go out there with love in your heart instead of hate, and try and build bridges instead of burning them, because trust me, you will get a lot farther with those bridges intact. So with that in mind, treat yourself with love, treat yourself with respect, and then do the same for your neighbour as well. As always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.